John Cena tried to warn us this entire time, from turning heel at Elimination Chamber, the promos that we saw leading up to WrestleMania, WrestleMania 41 itself, and then the promo on Raw. There's a lot I want to unpack with all of you regarding John Cena's heel turn. What happened, why it seems to be so split amongst fans, specifically the WrestleMania match, the involvement of Travis Scott, and where we could be going from here with John Cena in his final run. Let's rewind the tape, shall we? Leading up to WrestleMania 41, we had John Cena do his heel promo, the first one. He talked down the fans, he stripped them all down, he gave us a better insight as to why he turned heel. Not all of it, because even now we still don't know where's The Rock. We'll talk about The Rock a little bit too. As the weeks went on leading into WrestleMania, we saw John Cena talk to Cody Rhodes, do the promo battles back and forth, and one of the main lines that seemed to stick out to me anyways with John was going to be how he said, "I'm going to ruin wrestling."
I am going to ruin wrestling.
He's going to take that championship and he's going to take it home and he's going to retire with it. And we saw this as well with his Raw After Mania promo, echoing what he already talked about. So from the beginning of this heel turn, and we're still very early on here, everybody, John Cena did warn us that this is what he was going to do, that this is what this heel version, this bad guy version of John Cena kind of is all about. This is where I think so many of us are split on the WrestleMania match itself between him and Cody Rhodes, and the finish and the outcome. Let's talk about the WrestleMania match itself. Now, as I watched this and even did my review on it, I was kind of in favor of how this match went. I personally, I don't know how I feel really about the Travis Scott piece. But for the wrestling match, let's look at the beginning of things. John Cena coming out with black and white Trons. Entrance theme is still the same, but like he did on the Raw After Mania, he's coming out with a stripped down version of John Cena. The WrestleMania entrance I thought was perfect. It was exactly what this version of John Cena needed to portray as he came down for his match against Cody. And as we went through the match, this is where I think so many people are split. They hated this match. The match itself, the actual in between the ropes action that we saw, people hated this thing and thought it was the worst WrestleMania main event they've ever seen or have seen in a very long time. There's also another side of it where fans were kind of into it. They kind of liked it. They thought it was appropriate. They thought it was exactly what John Cena said he was going to do and how he was going to do it. If you look at the actual match itself and how John Cena wrestled it, yes, his moves weren't any different. He didn't do anything different in terms of like pulling out all these different suplexes and fancy moves and Canadian destroyers. But what he did was he took what he would do normally and he slowed it down. Look at the 5 moves of doom when he was going to do all the shoulder tackles. He did one and then he slowed down and stopped and stalled in between. The beginning of the match, John Cena would get out of the ring and get away from Cody Rhodes to slow it down. So yeah, it was at a slow, snail, methodical pace. A lot of just big moves, a lot of attitude adjustments, a lot of finishers. So that's going to appeal to some people and it's not going to appeal to another part of the audience, and that's okay too. Now, I think where fans can kind of forgive the in between the ropes moments of it and getting past that, okay, this was not a technically sound match. This lacked a lot of momentum. It wasn't fast enough. It was too slow. It got boring and plotting. The other thing, and I will say, this isn't in defense of John Cena at all, seeing John mouth the moves audibly, telling everybody, telling Cody Rhodes, this is the next move, the next move. Yeah, that takes you out of it as a fan, including myself. But he does that all the time too. It doesn't matter what match he's in. John just likes to yell out what the next sequence is going to be. But putting that aside for a second, I think fans can forgive what was happening in between the ropes and even John Cena winning, but the Travis Scott piece, I think, really left people with a bad taste in their mouth. If you're looking for more content, more exclusive content, we've just officially launched Patreon, patreon.com/Assemble Wrestling Network. I want to make sure I'm giving more value to people as best I can. All the content we do every day on YouTube stays. We are adding Patreon for those that want to be able to participate and take advantage of some of the exclusive stuff we have, like live shows, exclusive Q&As, and bonus content, as well as all of our YouTube content being ad-free. $5 a month, more content. Thanks for your support. Now back to the video. As we got to the end of WrestleMania 41, in the match itself, Travis Scott's music hits and starts making his long, slow, deliberate walk down to the ring. This was a problem for fans for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think that people heard Travis Scott's music hit and they thought that it was going to then transition into The Rock, because The Rock has done this twice now, where he will have a different theme of a popular artist coming out first, and then it will go into the final boss theme. I think everyone was not only expecting that when they heard the theme song hit, and obviously Travis Scott being with The Rock, but they also kind of thought throughout the match, this is going to end with some involvement of The Rock, because he was the one whose final boss at Elimination Chamber, he did the throat slit to Cena, and the three of them, Travis Scott, Rock, and Cena, walked out of Chamber together. It felt very fitting that we would get The Rock at WrestleMania to try and help John Cena to win, to end the reign of Cody Rhodes for not selling his soul to The Rock. That was a lot of the story leading into Elimination Chamber. The Rock and Cody's story of selling the soul and then not doing it up until the moment of the Elimination Chamber, and John Cena doing it. And yet John Cena still would not explain why he sided with The Rock. So at WrestleMania, not having The Rock come out when Travis Scott's music hit, I think that was what started to hurt fans feeling and souring towards this entire match. As Travis Scott was taking a slow, deliberate walk down, I felt like this was going on way too long. Yet John Cena still knocked down this entire time while Travis Scott is making a way to the ring. You can also look at this two ways. One, it was way too long and it was too deliberate and it didn't make any sense. Or two, that was part of it and that's what he was instructed to do. Don't go running down the ramp and trying to interfere like a crazy person like we would normally see in a WWE run-in, or jump the guardrail and hit Cody from behind or any of that. They wanted it this way. They wanted to do it this way. They wanted that deliberate pace, like the John Cena match itself with Cody. And then it gets into the end sequence. Travis Scott eats a crossroads. We get the tug of war between Cody and Cena. But in that moment, you could see where they were paying off the previous promos that they did. Once the tug of war happened between the belt and Cody's holding the title and is looking to hit John with it, and he's contemplating whether he should do it or not, it is exactly what Cena said in his promo to Cody before WrestleMania.
In order to beat me, you are going to have to choose. Do you do what they think is right, or do you win?
So John kicked him in the front, hits him with the belt, 17-time WWE champion. So you can look at the match and even to the finish, there are all of these little payoffs that Cena is doing with this character, with his approach, with his demeanor, paying off everything from Chamber, the promos leading up to Mania, and then the match itself with Cody. I will not sit here and defend the match like it was great wrestling. Slow, deliberate, plotting. It makes me nervous for Randy Orton versus Cena at Backlash, and we'll talk about that too. I have an issue, myself, Matt here, hello. I have the issue with Travis Scott being the one costing Cody the title. WWE wanting to get the big mainstream star coming in, this generation's Dennis Rodman with the NWO, coming out to the ring and costing babyface Cody Rhodes the championship. Cody loses the title after one whole year of having it, of holding it, coming off of one of the biggest feuds ever, the biggest WrestleMania moments of WrestleMania 40. Cody loses because of Travis Scott, who's not there every week, is a mainstream star, but it's not The Rock. And within the canon and the ecosystem of WWE, I don't think it paid off the way the fans wanted it to. But that's part of Cena's whole story too, isn't it? Cena's promos and thesis throughout all of this as a heel, for all of his promos before Mania, I'm not gonna give you what you want. It was denying the fans what they want. So as fans, we watch this and say the match was too plotting, too slow. The interference of Travis Scott wasn't the right thing to do. These are all things that in John Cena's world, as a character, what he is telling everyone, that was the point. You're not getting what you want. So John can use this version of his character where he denies the fans what they want or what John Cena should be doing as a character. He is denying that all along the way. His ammunition to use against the fans in character is to say, you don't get The Rock coming out. He could say that next week. You don't get to have The Rock at WrestleMania because that's what you wanted. You wanted that to happen and I denied you of that because you didn't deserve that. You turned your back on me. I'm not here to entertain you. John's anti-wrestling character that he is now, it's a little meta, and it could be very delicate for him and WWE Creative and Triple H to pull this off long-term for the rest of the year. Could the Mania finish been better, just from a straight-up creative perspective? 1000%. And I think also it's a detriment because fans were coming off of WrestleMania 40, off of that high, and thinking that we were going to get something equal to or as good as or as interesting as Mania 40 happening at the end of Mania 41. We also look at it too, and people in retrospect now can say WrestleMania Night 1 was better and paid off way more than Night 2 with Cena and Cody. And I'll leave that to you guys to discuss. Me as a fan, I did want more. I wanted The Rock's music to hit. He could be with Travis Scott. Travis Scott could still do everything that he did, but if The Rock was at least standing there and maybe got in like a rock bottom to Cody Rhodes, and then you did everything else the same with John Cena, would it have been better for you? Do you think it would have paid off better? I personally think it would have, and it would have made way more sense. But then we get interviews with The Rock, where he's on the Pat McAfee show, talking about how this whole build, the soul sucker and Cody Rhodes, and then the decision to not use Cody as a heel, to turn him heel with The Rock, they didn't go down that path, and The Rock says that it was Triple H coming to him saying, what about John?
And Triple H said, what about John turning?
So looking at The Rock, I think a lot of fans for this past year, as we've gone through Cody's whole post-Mania story, have felt maybe a little cheated, or just kind of scratching their heads of what is The Rock's involvement with everything throughout the year. From the Raw after Mania 40, where The Rock came down with his People's Championship, did the title swap with Cody, saying, I want to hold it and let me touch it, handing something to Cody Rhodes in his hand that was never discussed ever again to this day. You have the moment at Bad Blood where you have the tag team match of Roman and Cody going up against the Bloodline, and The Rock comes out with the 3-2-1 and the throat cut. That also didn't lead to anything. I'm sure we could pull some strings together and kind of have it make sense, but beyond that, we still had nothing. Raw debut Netflix. We get The Rock, but now he's applauding Cody Rhodes, which in character made no sense. The Rock telling everyone he's 20 steps ahead and you just enjoy the ride The Rock's taking you on. Okay then, Rock. And then you get to the soul-sucking moments. The Rock coming out with Cody Rhodes and wanting his soul. No one understanding the context of it, what it meant, and that it was all a little confusing and jumbled and all over the place. From there, we get Elimination Chamber, as you know, and we get the moment of Cody deciding, no, I am not going to side with The Rock, and John Cena does it. So I think naturally, looking at the past year, I think fans were right that they expected The Rock to be involved in WrestleMania because it only made sense from the character and the story they were telling. And that didn't happen. So when it's just Travis Scott, you can see where it really falls apart for people and why they sour on the match itself and the finish. But the ending is kind of interesting, isn't it? Because even during the match, Cody's getting booed. And if you rewind to the SmackDown before Mania and it's Cena and Cody in the ring, the fans were booing Cody. Maybe it's just the Mania crowd. Maybe it's just the Vegas crowd from the SmackDown and to WrestleMania, because fans are excited to see John Cena as a heel for the last time in their city, and they're potentially, and then did, get to see him break the record, something that they will never see ever again. So I think it's a tale of two sides of a fan. Fans booing Cody, maybe not because they're against Cody, maybe because they want to see just John Cena achieve the 17th title. But that does leave Cody in an interesting spot when he inevitably returns down the road. And does he confront John? Does he win the title back from John Cena? What do we do from there? And is Cody's character going to be different at all? Is he going to just fight Travis Scott in a one-on-one match? Because clearly that's in wrestling world, that's what should happen, shouldn't it? But we do get the Raw after Mania, and we have John Cena cutting his promo against the WWE Universe, calling them out. And what was a great moment was John Cena counting down the dates he has left. And like John Cena said,
not matches, appearances. I don't have to. I just have to show up and do this.
It's just dates. It's appearances. We're not going to have John Cena wrestle 27 times. We do know his first opponent, and it's Randy Orton. Now, is this the right decision at this point? Should they have waited on Randy Orton, or is it kind of perfect? You're not going to have Cody Rhodes for maybe a couple of months. Maybe not. Maybe he'll show up in a month. But the Randy Cena feud is something that I think we were all hoping to see before John's retirement. And it's very possible that this is the path that we get with John Cena to the very end. Less than 30 dates left for John Cena. In those 30 dates, he's only going to have a handful of matches. He's only going to have a handful of feuds. Having the Randy one is an interesting one and a great one because you have now flipped the roles. You have a face, babyface Randy Orton going up a heel meta version John Cena champion. A feud and a way of doing the feud that we have not seen before. Now, will the match at presumably Backlash be slow and plotting, deliberate, and even slower than the Mania match against Cody? Probably. They have to do something very interesting to tell a story in there and not make it a 25-minute match of them trading strikes and stomps and AAs and RKOs. If they do that, they might risk losing the fans a little bit. But this version of John is actually winding down a clock. Day after day goes by, appearance after appearance will go by where John Cena will retain that championship. And it's going to be up to everyone, all of the baby faces, all of the good guys, to come after him, see who can do it and who can take down John once and for all. And if they can at all, Cena might do what he said he's going to do. He may retire with the WWE Championship, the one held by Bruno and Bret and Triple H and Stone Cold, the lineage. That may retire with him, like he said. It's very possible because he said he was going to win the championship at WrestleMania, and he said he was not going to give fans what they wanted, and all of that came true. So the question is, how does the story end for John Cena? And do you think he was right all along? Comment below, hit subscribe if you guys can, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Have a great day. See ya.